So it's Monday, first day of peak week. I'm gonna put my efforts toward more constructive things, which is I need to get my race wheels mounted on my bike. Just installed the latex tubes for competition. I don't normally ride on those, but I do when I'm racing. And gotta change out the brake pads on my bike because they're set up for aluminum wheels and these are carbon. Very different braking surface, so I have a different set of pads, and those brakes are gonna have to be tuned to the width of the wheel. These are a little bit wider than my stock wheels, so that's what the day starts with. And then I'm going to take these goofy dogs for their jaunt. I'm not going to say the word because I'll go crazy, but yeah, just some active recovery. Tomorrow, the hard work begins. Pretty much flip-flop the approach. Every week up until this point has been 80% anaerobic base and 20% above lactate 3 turn point or anaerobic threshold. So that's what this week is going to be, trying to really get race ready, top level fitness, where I'm going to be going 80% at high intensity and 20% at low intensity. I'm going to lose a lot of base to do that, but the hope is that it will cause me to have the durability or the perseverance to be able to hold on to the higher intensities for a greater amount of time so that I can race at my greatest potential. And so now I'm just getting my bike ready. It's gonna have to go to the shop too to check all the cables and make sure the chain is in good shape, and maybe some minor tunes to the derailleurs. I know how to do that, but I don't do it because I feel like the mechanic does a better job. More practice. Tuesday morning, April 11th, 6 a.m. and I'm getting on my bike for a recovery spin. It's about 40 minutes in program length. LT3, lactate 3 turn point spin ups to try to get the blood flow to my legs, and then quickly recovering down into a little bit of zone 2 and a little bit of zone 1. And that's pretty much the recovery work that I'm going to have for the week. My legs feel good today, and my watch says I'm recovered. So
So I should be able to dive into the rest of the week with the intensity that is planned. Now I say the word should because, okay, so the theme in my life is that very rarely do things go perfectly to plan. I think that's probably true of most people, not just Jen. A sense of humility about it, because there's a lot of stuff I can't control. Can't control who shows up on the start line. Can't control if a mechanical happens to my bike, although I certainly try to prevent that. After my ride today, I'm meeting my preferred bike shop guy, Mike Hansen at Playtry, to have Jasper here have a spa day. Jasper's off on her spa day. Mike, gonna look over the cables and the chain, bottom bracket, make sure it's all safe and good to go. I just mounted those latex tubes in my race wheels. Brand new tread. Done a lot of work to this bike. Updates, make it faster, lighter. Had a 105 crank on it. It's been upgraded to Dura-Ace. And then the cockpit used to be aluminum. It's now upgraded to all carbon fiber with Vision base bar and zip extensions. I'd love to upgrade my arm cups, but not in the budget this year. Boy, I need to clean that grip tape. Anyway, as much work as I've done to this bike and as fast as it is, it's not my favorite. 82 degrees out, which is awesome because that's about what it is in Texas, although we're not going to be able to get the humidity there that they're having. But I'm headed out for a speed workout. Start my warm up here. You might want to know why I'm running if I'm not planning to run next week at Nationals. The answer to that is I don't want my TSB to go so positive that I peak too early. I need to keep my foot on the gas pedal a little bit on that front. And I also really am wanting to improve my run fitness to the point where I feel like I can compete again at this national level by this fall. I think I'm about 6 months away, and it's taken a good better part of 2.5 years to get where I am now. Brain injury really prevented me from having any significant consistency in run training at all. And then last fall, right before I went to Bermuda, I was struggling with some gait issues just because I didn't have the fitness to run at the gait my body has had for 5 decades. So anyway, I'm out doing 5 by 300 meter efforts at anaerobic threshold with about 2 minutes of recovery between, for a total run of about 30 minutes. If I have anything left over, it'll be down in aerobic base. April 12th, Wednesday, which means I'm 10 days from race day. Having blood work for the 3rd month to draw my thyroid hormones and figure out the dosage. I still think that
the current dose that I am on is a little on the low side. The reason I say that is my resting heart rate is lower than it would typically be. It's been trending at about 47 beats per minute. Prior to changing my thyroid dose, and for many years I've been at 52 or 53. A core workout today, a speed workout with swimming. Okay, so it's pretty brief because I'm starting the process of taper. If I did nothing today, my TSB is sitting at 2 this morning. So if I do nothing, I'm going to very quickly get into what would be considered peak condition and form too early. So I've got to put a little bit of hard work down today to draw that number back down into the negative place. And that's going to be the job of all the workouts that I do for the next 10 days.
Okay, so the sun's been concealed by the roof line of the condo that is just to the east of mine. And so I haven't really been able to do the early morning, like sun up viewing of the sunrise thing. And I've had some decline in my ability to sleep the last 2 weeks. I can only attribute it to this. So I'm going to do this new thing, which is just walk the block and then face the sunrise and see if that helps fix my sleep. So now you get to see it too. Here it comes. It's coming up. Maybe I'll do the slide today.
Waited patiently for the Lord, inclined and had my cry.
So today I'm going to spend a little bit of time checking what I look like in aero position with my MIPS equipped helmet. This thing was designed to reduce the torsion in a fall. Torsion meaning the twisting motion that happens in a crash with that velocity, to reduce the effects of concussion. To be frank, I feel a little bit safer in this helmet because of that than the other. And when I looked at my position when practicing transitions last weekend, I've changed the position on my bike a little bit, went down a titch in the front, brought the hands up, and actually dropped the saddle a little bit more forward with cleat position change, blah, blah, blah. So there's some changes that I've made to my fit. And I think what that's done is it's made my Rudy aero helmet not so aero anymore. Because when you hold your head up in this tuck position, rounding the shoulders so that the air passes over your back, you don't want something that's sticking up like a wind sail in the air. And I noticed on that short blip of video the last time that tail of my aero helmet was popping up a little bit. I used to be able to seal it a little bit closer to my back so that it was nice, like a nice smooth line down my back. But I was, about 1.5 inches higher on my stack than I am now. So I've got this really great hip flexion. I'm might as well use it because I've got power down there, because it does create a little bit less drag to be down in the drops, or in the cups in this case, a little bit lower, kind of collecting yourself into this negative space pocket on your bike. That's where you lose the most drag, is in here. So if you can reduce how much is sticking out, both up and low, you're going to be more aerodynamic. Anyway, I'm going to take a look-see at what my helmet looks like in aero position with my MIPS helmet. Is probably a trade-off in which one creates more drag, meaning the other one covers my ears. It definitely has less less volatile air as it spins over it than this one probably would have, because my ears are not covered. But I don't know, I just feel safer, and I feel like I can seal more of it off my neck. And so it's probably an equal trade for a safer helmet. The other thing I'm going to do today is change my cleat position on my left cleat. If you look at the bottom of my shoes, my right cleat has a shim on it, and it is shoved as far back into that midfoot as it possibly can. And the reason for that is I have both a leg discrepancy, about 3/4 of an inch shorter leg on the right. Some of that has to do with losing my ACL and a bit of the twisting that has gone on in that right knee from losing some of the connective soft tissue. But also, I fell out of a tree in 7th grade and I fractured the growth plate in my tibia down at the distal end there in the ankle. And I mean, leg discrepancies are not unusual, but mine is pretty big because I also have a right foot that's significantly smaller, in fact, a full size smaller than the left. And so I've been just changing my position to get into a more aggressive position. But I've been having a fair bit of ITB and hip flexor stuff here on the right, and I think if I could just change the cleat position maybe 3 millimeters forward onto the left leg, it'll help switch my pelvis into a more neutral position so that I'm not having to compensate on the right side for all this discrepancy. So that's kind of what I'm going to try out today and see what my top end power looks like under load with these short sets that are in the game plan, and see how I do with that. So anyhow, a couple little things to test out today. It's a short program. You don't want to be ever super aggressive with changes to your fit. They should be subtle. If you know, like one tweak at a time. I changed the position of my hands. Lowered myself a year ago. Got used to that position down lower. And then I changed the hand position 5 weeks ago when I took the road bike off and put this bike on the trainer. Got used to that. I'm seeing a little bit of an improvement with my power there. But now it's time to see if I can make a little bit more of a difference here in my power ratio. I've got dual-sided power, and it keeps track of how much work that I do. And forever and ever and ever, I've been able to compensate pretty darn well. I do 52% of my power with the left leg, 48% with the right leg. Typically speaking, it's really not too bad, but because of my knee injury, my right leg tends to still be taking quite the beating. So I'm trying to reduce how much of a beating I'm giving myself on that right side. And my sports med doctor would tell you that that is absolutely true. From basically my hip all the way to my ankle, there are things she's got to look at almost every single week to keep me straight and true. And actually it's kind of interesting because it's hard to know which is the chicken and the egg, but I have a little bit of scoliosis. The other thing I want to do is make sure that everything is synced up. Power from the trainer, what the trainer says the load is, to what my vector says they are, both here and on my Garmin, because if there's any discrepancy at all, that's really going to throw off race day. On race day, I use my watch for heart rate so that I'm not fussing around with screens, and power here. So I want to make sure that everything is synced up, seemingly calibrated properly.
Everybody wanna wake up. Everybody wanna show what they're made of. Look at all us standing side by side, giving off that green light. What a beautiful sight. Do not walk in our way though. You cannot stop us, no. That's the way it goes. Shining brighter than the light of day. What we will say. We're united forces and making our voice heard today. Make no mistake, we're not sorry for what we will say. We're gonna come down with the force and then make history. Oh, what a beautiful sight. The people shining bright.
Glad I finished that run. Yeah, this is what April does.
The people shining bright.
It's Saturday, April 15th. I'm 1 week out from race day. I've got a pretty hard ride on the trainer this morning that's doing above race efforts 10 times for 1 minute at a time. Some recovery kind of sandwiched in there so that my battery recharge, otherwise known as functional reserve, is able to sustain the effort. Let's hope for that. My TSB is trending upwards. And I admit I'm a little nervous where it's at, because this morning it's sitting at 4, which I feel like that's a little on the positive side for me this early. I don't want to peak too soon. But Garmin is showing that I'm displaying some fatigue, so I'm feeling like I've got to trust my intellect on how I write programming, and I need to pay attention to the heart rates that are showing, which are saying that I'm still working hard. It's getting close.
The people shining bright.